Hello, teacher friends. So I could safely say of all the jobs I've had, iTalki has been the most surprising. I didn't know what I was getting myself into when I first began, and I want to share 10 surprises that I have gotten from working on iTalki. The first one is basically that it could be a full-time gig. I had no idea that I'd be able to work full-time. I thought I'd be getting maybe 10 hours a week or 5 hours a week. And that's what it was like for the first month or so, and then things just picked up. So definitely the fact that it could be full time, even though it might not be that way year round, I'm super happy with that, and that was a big surprise for me. Number two is the fact that some of my students have jobs that I wouldn't expect. Like teachers, a lot of my students are actually English teachers themselves. Aside from that, many students are software developers. Many students are into coding and all different technology. So I would say that these occupations were kind of surprising for me. I don't know what I expected, probably nothing. But the fact that there's such a great concentration of software developers and teachers was actually eye-opening for me. Number three, it's Russians. There, so many of my students are Russians, and I don't know. I think I was expecting more students to be coming from Asia because a lot of the advertisements I saw online for being an English teacher were for Chinese companies. So I thought that the vast majority of my students would be coming from China, particularly, but actually a great amount of my students come from Russia, and after that it's probably Korea and Brazil. So it's a great mix of students, and I love that. And Yeah, I would say that these demographics were kind of surprising for me as well. And also, I am lucky enough to teach students from all over the world. I have students from every continent, and that's a fantastic thing. Yeah, number four, probably the amount of intermediate level students. I thought I would be going through very basic English, like A1, A2 level students, but in fact, a lot of my students are medium to high intermediate level and even advanced level students. And this has opened up a whole new can of worms, a whole new aspect of the English language, and it's actually gotten me to kind of question a lot of the aspects of English, a lot of the assumptions about my own language that I held before, teaching these very advanced topics to advanced level students and even to intermediate level students who by this point have to learn a lot of the exceptions that we have in our language, and a lot of the collocations and the different nuances of speech. So yeah, definitely the level of the students was surprising for me. Number five would be professional development. I know that italki does hold different webinars. I've checked a couple of them out. You should at least give it a shot if you're on italki as well. But for me as a person, as a teacher, I have developed professionally. Teaching on italki has gotten me to take different courses at university and take different courses, just online courses in IELTS prep or whatever it may be, which has helped me to develop professionally. I thought I would be at kind of a standstill and I would just be coasting the whole time teaching online. Again, I never thought I'd be teaching for almost 2 years on this platform. But definitely, this is something that probably comes from within. I wouldn't say that italki, they definitely don't, there's no obligation for teachers to go through professional development, but it's more so the motivation I've gotten from my students and from the experience online that has made me push myself to become certified in different aspects and to develop professionally. Number six, I don't want to say friends because I know that's such a taboo word that ESL teachers have, but definitely the relationships I've made with students have just been incredible. And I never thought I would be able to just get on and talk about some of the things that I talk about with my students with so much honesty and so much clarity and transparency. So I would definitely say the relationships I've built with my students are not what I had expected. Number seven, the amount of adults. I didn't expect that so many of my students would be adults. Now, as I've said before, I have changed, well, I've put in my description that I don't teach kids, so that's probably part of it. But that was only after a year into teaching on iTalki. Before then, it was free reign, and actually, I didn't have a lot of kids or even teenagers booking lessons. Maybe in total, about 20% or even 10% of my students were children. So that was a little bit surprising for me. And as somebody who prefers to teach adults, I have no problem with that. Yeah, number eight is probably how many people don't know about italki. When I was told about italki, I had no idea what it was, but I thought because of the pandemic and because of a lot of people working from home, it would have gained popularity. It probably has, but I mean, I have actually made presentations to my classmates in university about italki, and it's surprising how many people just have never even come across an advertisement of it, even as language students ourselves. So that's something that surprised me, but it's okay. I'm okay with keeping that our little secret. Number nine, IELTS. I had not foreseen so many students wanting to prepare for IELTS and just test prep in general, TOEFL or TOEIC. So yeah, that has definitely been a main source of my revenue on italki and my clientele on italki. And yeah, I'm thankful for IELTS. And number 10, the final point is the persistence of students. How many lessons some students have booked with me. I have over 30 students who have booked at least 20 classes with me. So that right there, I mean, 20 hours of language learning is a huge chunk of one-on-one language learning. That's a massive amount of time to dedicate towards learning a language, and a lot of my students have booked many more classes. So the persistence of my students and how they persevere, how they overcome their hurdles, and how they ask for help with doing so. These are definitely inspirational things. And yeah, in a nutshell, those are 10 things about italki which have really surprised me. So if you have anything that has surprised you about working on italki or italki in general, please throw them in the comment below. I hope that that's been helpful, and until next time, keep smiling.